Hello. Check, check, check. How is this?
It seems a little better.
A little better? Okay.
Yeah,
I just
I don't know.
just
Because when you were talking quiet, it was fine.
I just turned the gain
So I
down
don't
a
know
little
if
bit.
it might.
I just turned the gain down a little
Could
bit.
be.
How's this? Is this any better?
Sounds good to me. Yeah. I
Okay,
guess
great.
You were a little hot maybe before.
Okay, let's do it. Maybe I was Joel. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being
Your
the type of
special
friend
ears.
that would call me out on something like that.
for being a friend.
We haven't seen each other in 2.5 months.
We're pretty much the Golden Girls at this point.
Hey, Dave, show Joel your shirt.
Yeah, Joel, you want to feel real old? You recognize the color of this T-shirt?
Is that the old CSG shirt?
It's been around the
Dude,
block.
that's perfect. It's the apocalypse already.
No, I mean it's not that like we weren't getting the highest quality T-shirts, if I'm being honest, but still that.
This shirt is 8 years old.
I mean the podcast is 12 years old, so.
Ah!
Yeah, I was making jokes with somebody last night about like a 20-year high school reunion, and then I realized I was like, if I wasn't homeschooled and actually had a high school reunion to go to, I wouldn't be that far away from it. Like, I would have just had my I'd be at my 16th year now. So
Is Christmas like high school reunion for you?
a little bit, yes. That's the obvious joke, but thank you for making it.
I'm here for this.
I'm also excited to show off to all my classmates how much more better my life is than theirs. Haha, look at you with all your children. I woke up whenever I wanted Christmas morning. Suck it.
I didn't sleep Christmas night.
Well, no, Dave, you did that to yourself. That's 100% your fault.
Dave, that's
And my
that's
point remains.
I think you guys would appreciate this. I went to a coffee shop on Friday, and first thing I want you to appreciate is I knew that Eggard and Joel were there by their cars in the parking lot, neither of which are incredibly rare cars, but I could just tell by like the patina and everything. Like you can just tell like that's Joel's gray Mazda 3.
patina? Wait,
like the
what
little
is that?
scratches, the dents, the dirt that you allow to build
okay.
up on your car for 2 or 3 years at a time in between washes.
Or
You can see the judgment rolling up. So.
I can just tell.
Hey, you know what all those that dirt and stuff means? It means I was out doing other things than cleaning my car. I was like enjoying life and having fun. Not cleaning.
Making
my
elaborate
garage.
games to trick my friends and to go into the woods late at night.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I go inside and I didn't see Eggard at first. I was like, oh, maybe that's not his truck. But I'm like, no, that's definitely his truck. But I see Joel right away sitting at the table. I go over, I sit with him. Eggard sees us a couple minutes later. He comes over. I guess he and you were both in the coffee shop and didn't see each other for.
No, we did. I told him, I was like, hey, I like just when he saw me, I was like, hey, I have a meeting
Okay.
real quick. And then afterwards we'll catch up.
So Dave, none of that is relevant other than as we're finishing up here at the coffee shop, we get up to go. Eggard showed me something on his phone and I notice a frame rate counter in the upper right-hand corner of his phone screen.
Yes.
Dude, I rolled my eyes. I
had to tell Joel immediately, even though in this very moment, there's a frame rate counter permanently on in the upper right-hand corner of my monitor that I have not turned off in 5 years, but it's not on my phone.
Like I get it on your computer, you know, because especially if you're gaming all the time and you know you're into that, I get it. But I'm like, but on a phone, I'm like, dude, like, what do you checking the frame rate of like
Of games, that's what he was
Candy
doing.
Crush?
That's what he was doing. He shows the game he was playing.
Like, oh man, I wasn't get 240 FPS on my Candy Crush.
I only notice my phone FPS when I turn on battery saver mode, and all of a sudden I go from like what is it, like 90 or 120 usually to like 60 or 30, and then you notice like scrolling just does not look right.
Does your phone actually slows down when you have a low battery?
It asks
Like
you if you want to turn on
FPS?
battery saver. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gotcha.
my phone will slow down to
yeah.
1 hertz refresh rate. Like right now, the always on display is refreshing at 1 hertz. And then if it's just sitting still, I think when you're actively using it, it can go as low as 40 maybe. And then it can speed up to 120. My iPhone 13
Gotcha.
Pro is like that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
my
that.
my current phone has 2 battery savers. It has like a 20% battery saver, and if you hit 10, it asks you if you want to do like ultra battery saver.
Dave has never seen
blurs your
10.
wallpaper out, and it just
Dave and
Plug in
10.
your phone, Dave. Jeez.
Yeah, Dave and 10 don't know each other. Don't you love that feeling though when you get a new phone and the battery life for a brief period of time you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never run out of battery again.
I'm curious. Do you guys know the battery level of your phone almost before you look at it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know about where I'm going to be at because I know when I last charged it.
Let's see how accurate are. Dave, what do you think your battery is without looking at it?
Didn't walk for long at lunchtime today. Didn't do a whole lot outside. I'm gonna say I'm in the upper 50s still.
Okay, let's take a look.
67% actually.
Oh,
Look at that.
okay, Jeremiah.
I checked mine right when you said that. I didn't realize that's where you were going, so unfortunately, I cheated.
Okay.
But mine's
I'm gonna
75.
say 27.
I'm charging, so it's not really fair.
21.
Ugh.
Perfect for some late night shenanigans. James, what phone are you using these days?
14 Pro Max.
Oh my. Okay. I just
Joel-
changed to a Galaxy S23 Plus.
Oh, nice. You like it?
I do.
I want to know, Joel, how does it make you feel that I selected my current phone last year based literally only on its ability to recharge the battery quickly? That was my only criteria.
Dave, how many watts? Tell him how many watts it charges at. Well, first, Joel, do you know how many
I
watts?
was off.
Do you know how many
I was
watts
off,
your
yeah.
laptop charges at?
I really don't know.
But you know, like you have like a 65 watt MacBook charger, an 85 watt MacBook charger, right? Are you familiar with that?
I
96?
want to say, I have the MacBook Pro, so I think I've got the slightly larger one.
So it's probably an
I think
85 watt. It's
Joy's
probably an 85 watt
maybe
charger or
it's that.
something. Yeah.
Because I can charge off hers, which is the tiny little one. It charges the laptop much slower. Like that's what I'm using right now, but she's got a nice setup in this room, so I just use that charge, and it's more than enough. But like if the fan's on, like right now, it's just barely charging. Like it would take 7 hours to charge right now, but it won't drain the battery as long as it's plugged in.
But then your
So it
phone
works fine
probably
right now.
charges at like 15 watts is about the max I think you can get through a lightning cable, something like that.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, what does yours charge at?
My phone charger pulls 65 watts, 1.8 amps while doing the warp charge. 1.8 amps into your phone. It can go from 0%
world?
to 60% in 15 minutes. It can go from totally dead to 58%, 60% in 15 minutes. It can go from 0 to 100% in 39 minutes, like guaranteed.
Is there like a nuclear reactor?
It's sucking
in
right
your
from the teat of the
phone, Dave?
electricity.
I think the Pro Max, the Pro is like 27 watts.
Yeah.
That's probably the max
So-
you can get out of a lightning cable, though, isn't it? Like I'm sure they're limited by the
Yeah.
lightning cable more than
You have to
anything.
use USB-C.
Yeah, isn't the 15 officially switching to
Dave, you
USB-C?
actually see the electricity coming through.
I don't know. It's been the rumor just because of another country.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Joel, you know the scene in Watchmen when Dr. Manhattan gets trapped inside the reactor and like you see his skeleton. It's me every night plugging my phone in.
Just wait till the cars go electric
Dave,
for you,
like,
Dave. You're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's I think the fastest charging I've seen from electric cars, 250 like that I've personally seen is 250 kilowatts, but aren't there some cars that do like 600, 700?
I don't know. Toyota's new electric's supposed to be like stupid fast.
Yeah. What does your Tesla charge at?
I mean, it depends on where I'm at. A supercharger, it'll go really, really fast. At home, it's like 40 watts.
40 kilowatts.
Do you have like the special
40
charger
kilowatts,
thing
yeah.
at home, or do you just plug it in like a normal
It's
outlet?
like a.
It takes a long time. But...
It's basically like a dryer
Oh, okay. Yeah.
plug with a special cable run to the.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to
box.
plug it into like just a normal outlet?
Yeah, it'll
Like,
take like
just to-
2 days.
Yeah, if you
Does it?
so
Yeah, I was
what
just
James
curious.
has is called a level 2 charger, and if you plug into a regular 110, yeah, it'll add like 7 miles an hour or something. Like you could do it if you were staying somewhere overnight or whatever, and that was your only choice.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's an option, but it's just not a great one.
Like I take my car to work and plug it in, and it's like I'll plug it in for like 4 hours and maybe get like 150 miles.
That's not bad. That's pretty cool.
But it's not bad considering I have to pay for the charge. So
Now we're talking.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know we're in the future because one of my favorite dad shows to watch when I have control of the TV is our Roku has a This Old House channel of just like DIY projects. And they have tons of specials. I've seen, I think, 4 or 5 different ones now of how to run your own car charger to different places in like old houses. One was like a duplex where there were like 19 panels in the basement, and they had to like figure out where he's allowed to run it out, and there's like this little tiny alleyway. But yeah, you're in the future when this old house is covering EV chargers.
My power bill I just paid this month, it was $500. And that's it. That's the rest of the story. I'm very sad about it. It was actually bad enough that I turned my computer off at night now. I was like, I have to do something.
Well, okay, now this is our main topic right here. Jeremiah has never turned his computer off in his entire life.
What was killing your bill? Just the heat, or
it's the AC. The HVAC in the front half of the house is at this point 18 or 19 years old, and it is struggling. It runs like 22 hours a day. So we added a window unit in the front, so that can run 24 hours a day. And it's much more efficient. Like, it's a lot newer. And then the other one can run like an hour at a time every few hours, just to like, we're trying to stretch it out longer, just because I spent $10,000 on a HVAC in the rear of the house last year, and I don't want to do the same thing again this year. I'd really like to get a couple more years out of it. So,
oh, you got $10,000 in the rear, all right.
So we were trying to watch a movie last night on Plex, Jeremiah. We were trying to watch one, and it just would not stream. It said yours was too slow.
Oh,
that's what I kept getting.
The reason for that is I'm doing a render. I was doing a render on the. Yeah, so I used that server.
So we rented Apollo 13.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I wish you could have watched it off my.
Could you consider like rendering at times where we might not consume media?
Well,
just pick your
Would you consider
pick your times
friends
based on us?
Normally, it's not a big deal because nice thing about Unraid is like, because it's Linux based, you can tell it which CPU cores can use, like which apps can use them. So Handbrake can only use the CPU cores that Plex can't use, and vice versa. So it's not supposed to be able to affect each other, but maybe a few other people were streaming at the same time and it was trying to transcode too much video. I'm not sure. But I like doing all that in the basement where I can't feel all of the heat. That's great. I run that thing like a dog. That thing's going to work until it dies.
There's something very nostalgic about little window units, though. Like, it's blasting cold anywhere within like the 10-foot radius, and then the diminishing returns on the
very
rest.
Diminishing. Yeah. They've gotten pretty good though.
Come along. Yeah, I was gonna say they've come a long way, both in efficiency, noise, and then for my parents, back in the spring, I installed for their upstairs where they don't have a full mini split yet. I installed one of those U-shaped window units. Have you guys seen those?
No.
If you look at the side profile, imagine a U shape. So the compressor and the inside fan is completely separated, and you can close the window to like 1 inch closed, because
oh wow, that's pretty cool.
The only thing that comes in and out the window are the coolant pipes, which are inside the plastic. So it's basically like a mini split system just in a window box. So because the window is mostly closed, the compressor, like, you can't hear it. All you hear is the inside fan, like a mini split.
It was just a U. It sucks in the air from your home and shoots it right back.
Yeah. If you put it in backwards, it's terrible. But yeah, it's more efficient, it's quieter, and it's more secure if you're doing it on like a ground floor. 'Cause you hear every summer about people getting their AC units kicked in, people just crawling in the window.
Yeah, I mean, ours is first floor, very front of the house, facing the road.
I like the hotels that still have like the floor-based ones. Mm-hmm. Like when I go to a hotel that's got like central AC, I'm like, oh man, there's no spot where I'm gonna freeze in the room. I'm like the one who it's my time to actually be cold when I'm sleeping at night, so I can just cover.
I mean, first thing you do when you get into one of those hotel rooms is you just turn it up to like the maximum setting, like absolute Arctic gale. Like, you don't want to be able, you don't want to have to scream when you walk into the room. It's so loud.
Dude, that is so true. I feel whenever I get like, yes, because it's like I always choose that side of the bed. It's like blasting in my face.
Yeah, James just unlocked some core memories of going to the beach and like coming back to the hotel room. Oh, man.
That is really funny because that's 100%.
Yeah,
that's exactly. I like, yes, and I always turn it down. Like, so I usually turn it up right before bed, like before I get ready to bed. So then I have maximum amount of time it's on. So because like those sometimes, like if you can't turn the on always, some of them they have like it will do
a restrictor.
Like,
yeah.
So I'll turn it up a little bit hotter right before bed, and then chuck it all the way down, and I'll be dead asleep by the time.
That's good. It's your lullaby. It's the roar of the air conditioner.
It's so freaking.
The walls are rattling.
Remember that hotel we stayed at when we went to the reenactment?
Yes.
That was a special occasion.
The long row of
I've never seen that many like beds in a room.
Three is too
Felt
many.
like we're like I felt like it was like an immigrant haven.
Temporary housing set up.
James, I meant to tell you about. All right, there was this honestly pretty nice hotel we stayed in when we were with friends, Chris from the old podcast DayZ Days and his wife, and we stayed we went to a trip with Maine, on a trip to Maine with them. Wow. So the last night before we flew out, we stayed in a hotel right by the airport. You know, like the business hotels that are right by the airport that you can get the shuttles to the airport and everything.
Yeah.
So we stayed in one of those, and it's one of their double queen beds. You know, it's designed for people who are really just there for the night and then bounce on to their next thing. The room is nice. Everything about it's nice, except the bathroom. This is one of those where the sink is outside the bathroom in the main part of the room. Strike one. Strike
Now
two.
I have to wash my hands. Jeez.
Well, everyone has to watch you come out of the bathroom and then watch. I don't like it.
You're like, happy birthday to you.
You have to brush your teeth with an audience. I don't want to do that. But the worst part is the bathroom, like the shower and toilet room, doesn't have a door that closes and latches. It had a sliding,
it's a sliding.
panel
Oh, I hate that.
that
Gosh.
slides and leaves
Why?
a gap about that big.
No.
It is right.
No.
It is right.
A lot of hotels are like that.
Yeah, it's right next to one of the beds, and there's no fan in the bathroom. So if you need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, the other people in the bed 8 inches away from you are just listening to you go. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, Jeremiah. Get a hotel that has bathrooms downstairs in the lobby.
that's what I did the next morning. Was I told Hope, like, we were getting up and everything. I was like, we need to go downstairs. Like, I was like, we need to go downstairs 10 minutes early.
You were dropping a big one.
Well, I started in the upstairs bathroom. I heard the first noise and I was like, I'm not doing this. I paused, waited 15 minutes, and then
I'm
committed
being
to work
quiet.
on.
I'm being quiet. All right, I'm done.
The rolling barn door trend has hit Airbnbs too for bathrooms. It is the dumbest thing.
A bathroom ought to be like a hermetically sealed, like you ought to feel your ears pop when you shut that door. Like, I want there to be a sign on the back of the door that's like, be as loud as you want. They won't.
It's like when
hear you.
Norman's putting on.
Not to go back to this old house too much, but they
now
talked about
pressurized.
on some bathroom remodel episodes. Modern fans for like bathroom exhaust, I've gotten better to the point where you can get, if you really want, a totally silent fan, but contractors like try to lead people away from those because most people who install the totally silent bathroom fans hate them because they can move air just fine, but they're too quiet.
I have that in my basement
I hate
bathroom.
the ones that are silent.
It's like,
Yeah.
so quiet.
Yeah.
No. I want to hear every freaking fart. And I want everyone downstairs to hear it too.
You need to just carry a bunch of noise canceling headphones. Be like, hey guys, check this out. I wanted to show you this video. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's
It's like Jonah's silent disco with everyone's headphones, all like synced to the same thing.
I hate those. I hate it. I just hate it as a thing for society. I hate it.
Did you ever watch the Shark Tank show or whatever? Anyways, there was one like over 10 years ago or something. Oh, dude, I remember I was dying laughing. So one guy comes on and he's like, I've got the invention of the century, and it was called like the Porta John basically, but it was basically like a poncho you pull over you, and then you can just take a pee like anywhere, and it has like a little pocket to like collect the pee and stuff. But the best
Wear
part
a diaper.
is he like puts it on, right? It's like this really big punch, like goes all the way to full of the ground. He's like, now I can strip down if I need to, and I can use the bathroom and stuff like that. And like the people, like the cut to the people watching was like, what? But then they're all like, this is gonna be a no for me, right? But that goes, well, it can also come with gemstones, and he was gonna offer like rhinestones on yours or whatever. And I was like, that would be amazing. Like, how much would you need to like be in just like a concert and be like, everyone's just looking at you?
I thought you were going to say that like he decided to use it in front of everybody. They're just listening to the sound of like, I think peeing on like a plastic bag would be very loud.
Amplified.
Oh, man.
I'm not saying any of you have ever woken up to the sound of like another scout peeing on the side of your tent. I don't know if that's a sound anyone else.
No, I have.
Yeah.
I have.
Very much so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get the show.
Dude, did I tell you about the kid we locked in a porta-john?
I don't know if that's a story you want to retell in front of people. Is it?
Yeah.
Do you want to think about it?
Oh yeah, no.
What's the
it's all
statute of
fair game.
limitations?
We were the same age. We were both 13. It was a war between scout
Well, I
troops.
didn't think it was a pedophile thing. I just thought maybe it's still a crime. That's not where my.
Why would you start the story like that? It was okay. We were the same age.
we were playing. Gosh, what were we playing?
Look, they're the scouts. We're just happy it wasn't the scoutmaster
We were playing
involved.
No, what's the game where you
You take off your clothes, you stand in the middle of the woods,
I
because
didn't
you've
go
told us
seek.
that
There we
story
go.
where you're running through the woods
We were
naked
playing-
with your scout bros.
we were playing hide and go seek, but like,
What were you hiding?
man, I can't even think of it. well, anyways,
Where were you hiding it?
we got chased with this other team, and they were trying to like literally beat us up. This is pre locking in one of their team. Well, we escaped, but Josh got captured. Me and Ben running, but Josh couldn't run as fast as us at the time, and so Josh got tackled. I just remember looking back and seeing him literally get tackled by like a whole scout troop. We're like, bye. So anyways, we escape, but then we hide. But then Josh finally caught up with us later. Like, dude, he was like, his shirt was ripped up. They beat him up good. So then finally, after he like forgave us for abandoning him to the pack, we like saw one of the guys go into the porta-john, and so we there and we like took it and like took a rope and like locked the door, and then Josh like shoved the porta-john over, and you just hear the sloshing and the screaming. It was like, it's getting everywhere.
Joel, if somebody did that to
And
me when I was a kid,
ran.
I
Yeah.
would kill them later in life. Like, I'd wait as long as it took. But, like, there's
Like,
absolutely...
45
thankfully they
years
never
later.
saw us.
Yeah, there's no way they die old in their bed. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we hid definitely after that. They never saw
That was
us
his
again.
villain origin story.
So this is going to be a weird non sequitur, because I was going to say this right before, after we were talking about other things, about noise canceling and stuff. I got new earbuds when I got my new watch and phone. I'm all in the Samsung ecosystem. You know how great it is to have all your stuff made by one manufacturer, so it all just kind of
Joel
works
does.
together the first time.
Joel knows.
Yeah, I do know
You
that.
do know that?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
so I
pretty
just
nice.
opened these buds up for the first time, and it's like, do you want to connect these to all your devices? I was like, absolutely. So anyway, I do that, and but anyway, these headphones these earbuds have active noise cancellation. They
Which
also
ones are they?
the Galaxy Pro Buds Pro 2 Plus.
Okay.
It's their newest, nicest
Yeah.
ones. And because they're not Apple products, I was able to get them for 50% off from Amazon Warehouse. So I paid $105 for the best headphones they make.
Wait, did you buy used headphones?
No. Amazon Warehouse, like the box is dinged up and stuff. The headphones weren't used.
Sometimes they're returns.
Well,
that have been
they
tested.
tell you what condition they are, and then you just don't buy those ones.
Do you trust them though? That's actually a line I have never crossed. I have never bought a used pair of headphones.
Oh, I've bought a lot of things used that you would not guess based on how I feel about a lot of other things. But anyway, there's a cool feature. There's a cool James looks uncomfortable. There's a cool feature these headphones have. Do you guys have this? Where if like Hope walks up to me and starts talking, they automatically switch
can
into
just-
ambient mode
You can
and
turn
pause.
it quiet mode so you can't hear her talking. Is that what you were gonna say?
No, the opposite. It goes into ambient mode where it turns on the mics and you can hear what's going on around you as long as she's talking and like we have a conversation. And then she walks away, it waits a few seconds, it fades it out and starts the stuff playing back again. But it's smart
cool
enough that like
feature.
I was
Interesting.
cutting the grass and everything today and it handles all of that fine. It only cut on when a person started talking next to me. I thought that was really cool.
How does that work when you're like walking in the mall?
I don't know.
Do you want to just listen to music?
I would not put myself in that situation, so I'm not sure.
Speaking of situations you won't be in, this was a set of headphones designed by someone without a toddler in the house because that would be absolutely a useless feature for me. 100%.
Ooh, imagine being on a plane. I mean, I'm sure in the Samsung app you can turn off
You
that
can.
feature,
Oh yeah,
but
you can definitely disable it.
It actually enhances the sound around you. Like, it only does the buzzing and the hums.
Anyway, guys, I think it's time we get this show on the road.
Let's do it.
Good night.
What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah, and tonight I am joined, making his triumphant return, Papa James.
What's up?
I am joined by the Ranger, Dave.
Yeah, one time I'm going to remember to object to that before the podcast.
And when you do, I've already told you how I'll respond. But all you have to do is remember. We're also joined by the Lord of the Dance himself, Joel.
What's up?
Okay, that works.
All four of us.
As it is all four of us for the first time in a while. I mean, the first podcast in like 2.5 months. So I guess depending on your definition of a while, it's definitely been a while. We are keeping perfectly to our promises of doing this when we feel like it. As it is right now, we are 2.5 weeks out from the launch of Starfield. I did not tell you guys about this ahead of time to prep for it at all.
We didn't know that. Jeez.
I know.
For early access, it's less.
Oh, well, I wasn't thinking about early access.
How early is early access?
August 31st, 8 p.m.
Are any of you planning on getting the early access?
Yeah.
How do you actually get that?
You pay extra money.
Obviously.
So-
I mean,
I was
you get it for free on Xbox.
Yeah.
With Game Pass, but if you pay like $35 extra,
31,
34. No, 34. Is there a discount on Game Pass?
There's a discount, 31.45. I paid it today.
Well, Dave, you don't
You
have
bought
Game
it.
Pass,
Wow.
do you?
I
I
didn't
do have
realize.
Game Pass.
I didn't realize
You
Dave was
paid that
excited
much
for the
extra?
game.
Is it just to make content? Why'd you pay that much
Content.
extra for 1 week? Okay.
It's a Bethesda game.
You also get the DLC with it.
Yeah, the DLC is.
Yeah, Dave, it's a
yeah.
Bethesda game, which means it's going to be broken for all of early access, most likely.
Jeremiah, I can't make my bug montages without early access, okay?
That's true.
All the early rumblings have been that it's actually one of the more polished releases they've done.
That's good. I hope that's true. So I didn't realize it's
like
going
a
to be
delayed of like a year and a half, right?
I
I
don't know.
thought it was coming out like a year and a half ago, and then
Somewhere around that, yeah,
I
I think.
know. It's been at least 8 months since they were originally going to release it.
I'm sure it's had a delay because everything does. I think James might be Googling that right now. If I can tell by the way his eyes scanning back and
I'm
forth.
looking for it too.
That's a wide monitor
Enhance.
he's looking on. Enhance. While he talks about that, the size, it's going to be like 130.
2022.
It's really good radio when we talk over each other. Do you want to go, Joel? You want to talk?
Yeah. Starfield was originally scheduled to release in November 2022, but it was postponed by nearly a year. Yeah.
Okay.
They announced it in June of 2018.
That was a long time. Because that was when they announced the next Elder Scrolls.
Although their
What was the point of that?
their trailers might be setting expectations a little too high because they love the tagline. They put it in every trailer recently where it goes, a new franchise, 25 years in the making. And I'm like, technically true, but you might be setting a bar a little too high here.
What are they, Rockstar?
I'd forgotten that because they're owned by Microsoft now, that it was going to be just included in Game Pass. That's awesome. I was all ready to buy it, but I'm not going to. I will preload it on all my devices, though.
Yeah, preload is active now for Game Pass.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, I did the
need to probably
preload
do
this
that.
morning.
We're going on a vacation on the 2nd of September, and then we'll be actually gone for 2 weeks. So now I'm kind of really debating about getting that early access to try.
Well, Joel,
Because I don't think I'll bring my Xbox. But
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, if you do the streaming thing, you could get a Steam Deck, refurbished Steam Decks, or like what, $400, under $400 now, $350.
yeah,
That could be you.
You get a
be me.
refurbished. I just got mine. It was like 304 plus tax with the game, with the GameStop's power up thing.
Yeah.
you're all
the cheap
powered,
one.
you're all
and
powered
I
up.
bought a 1 terabyte SSD to put in it. So
Joel, you could play Hunt with me on a terrible platform for it.
Does it run natively?
game
Does Hunt
ever-
run natively on Steam Deck, on Linux?
It runs. It does not run well, is what I've heard.
Okay. I'm excited to try Baldur's Gate 3 on it. So I installed that on my PC. I've also installed that. Apparently when you get to like some city section later in the game, the CPU in the deck just gets fried trying to keep up with it. But people say like you can manage like 20 FPS for most of that area. So I mean, for a turn-based combat game, like honestly, that might not be the worst thing in the world. I might try it, but I'm kind of excited. But yeah, so are you guys excited about Starfield? That was the attempt at a topic there before we all went in our separate ways. It sounds like everybody is excited, is planning on playing it.
I feel like I'm the most surprised.
I've kind of mentally checked out from it. Like,
yeah.
I like purposely just not been excited, not really looked at anything. In like it hopes that when it launches, it'll be like, oh, this is great.
100% me there. I'm with you, James. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool thing is it's
I've watched
cross save.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah, I watched their
Not that you'll play it on or on PC, but
no.
But Jeremiah might be able to play it on Xbox.
They showed off that 45-minute thing. I don't know, a couple months back or whatever. I enjoyed watching that. That was pretty interesting. It's funny. It like parts of it looks really, really interesting that I'm like, oh man, like a Bethesda game. And then other parts I'm just like, man, I don't know if it's gonna click. But like because it's Bethesda, I'm like, I'm gonna try it for sure. The same thing honestly with Baldur's Gate 3, like it looks so good. Like I really respect, like it just looks fantastic. But I just don't know if that kind of game will actually stick with me. Like if I can continue with it.
You beat Divinity Original Sin too, right?
I did. I think, I mean, that was again a much shorter game. Like that was like maybe
that's
65
a little less
hours,
turn-based,
but,
isn't it?
Yeah, and because I was playing with Eric and Giancarlo at the time, like we were kind of going through it. But yeah, I mean, but I think in a way I might have enjoyed it a little more if it was on my own, because like it always just takes me longer to like read through the stuff or like figure out some of the puzzles, and so like it's fun to kind of like dick around in a game like that too. But if it's a game where like, especially when you're allowed so many choices, it's like I want to take my time and I just want to make a rash decision too. Like that's what I enjoy in some of those games too. Like again, like Kingdom Come, like I like being able to go like, nope, I'm going to just stick with and go with it. I'm not reloading saves. Like, oh, well, I failed a quest. I don't care. Like it is what it is. But you know, when you're playing with other people that want to finish every last item, get every last piece of gold, like, you know, it's just different. So like part of it was fun, but part of it is not as fun. But it does make me think that possibly trying it on my own, I might enjoy it. But like honestly, like looking at the UI and stuff, I'm like, man, that's just so many stats and stuff. Like I don't know if it's something I can actually even like, because even like in Dark Souls and games like that, still like, I mean, I just do the generic leveling and stuff. You know, I mean, like my skill is good enough that I can enjoy playing the game and I can get through most of it. If I get really stuck, I can be like, okay, what do I actually really need to do? And I can kind of figure it out. But like, I don't go, oh, this is a power level A and a C. And I don't know. I just level up. Now my sword's 25, you know. But some of those games, you know, like you really do kind of need to get into the nitty gritty of the details to actually make it work. And I don't know if I have like the patience or that kind of like even mental fortitude to like understand it very well. So, but I'm going to give it a shot.
I think the only thing I'm worried about with Starfield is that, you know, what I've loved about Bethesda games is just like you see something at a distance that's not part of a quest. And you're like, oh, I want to go see what that is. And you go there and there's like a little, you know, for Fallout, there's like a little house or something, or, you know, for, you know, Elder Scrolls, you go into a cave and you get lost in that cave for like an hour. You know, with this being procedurally generated, like I don't feel like I'm going to have that much desire to necessarily be like, oh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? What's this? Because it's just going to keep going. And it's not, I'm not discovering something. It's just, it's being made mostly on the spot.
I'm hoping for,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the same kind of thing. Like, I think what's going to be tough is starting the game. I think we're going to see a certain planet and go, oh, like that looks really cool. And it's going to feel really awesome the first couple times, I'm sure. But then once you kind of realize certain things are randomly generated, it's like both the time commitment versus like I'm seeing kind of randomized stuff. Like, because I hated that in Skyrim. Like, I hated it so much. Especially when I didn't even know I was on a randomized thing. I think it's one thing if like I beat the game and it was like, oh, I want some stuff to do, you know. then I knew I was on like a generated quest, like to go get a sword in some cave. And I was like, I was doing those for hours. I'm like, when does this quest line end? Then I like looked it up. I'm like, oh, I've been doing endless rent, So, but going to some of the planets that are just made that they actually detailed like specifically, I was like, I'm looking forward to that. But I think it'll be hard to just kind of say no to at least trying to explore for a while. But I just wonder how much that's going to quickly burn me out. Because you have to, I need to remind you about, the last time we were on the podcast, I think I talked about Zelda, so I'll have to tell you what I think about it.
Wow, it has been a while. Yeah, I think for Starfield, the thing I'm hoping for is it won't be as good as Star Citizen at the things that Star Citizen is incredible at. But it might work better for everything else. And like, I've always loved sci-fi a lot more than the generic fantasy setting. I say generic fantasy, Elder Scrolls isn't generic fantasy, but in some ways it is, like I do like stuff like that when it's in the world of The Witcher that has unique bent, but I've always really liked sci-fi more. And I'm really looking forward to that type of game in space, if it actually is as good as it's supposed to be. I haven't watched that 45-minute demo. I've seen like 2 or 3 minutes of Starfield gameplay total. I'm trying to go in as cold as I can. I'm saying it that way, not like it's just because I was lazy and didn't watch the stuff when everyone else did, and then the moment passed and I forgot to come back to it, because that's what being middle-aged is like. But I am really hopeful that it can fill kind of that void of like, I'm not playing Star Citizen right now. We Chris and I go through hot and cold periods with it where you play it and then things are super broken for a while when they roll out new systems and you leave it and you come back a bit later, and that's fine. Like that's the comfortable piece that I've come to with Star Citizen, which is the same age as this podcast now. But with Starfield, like it might really be one of those games that I can just sink myself into over a period of months when I get the chance to play stuff. I haven't really been playing a whole lot of anything. It's been really hard to make myself play stuff. But
See the last podcast title?
Yeah, but Starfield, I don't know. I kind of hope it could be that.
I'm hoping it's structured in a way that you could like pick up and play for like an hour.
Well, it's Elder Scrolls, and then it's Bethesda. Sorry,
I mean, and then quit, and then be able to like come back to it and not be completely lost. Like that was one thing I didn't like about Skyrim is that, like, if there was ever a large gap, I'm like, holy crap, what was happening? Like, you'd have to try to figure out the storylines.
There's a lot of investigating in Skyrim, tracking ancient lore, and yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely with I guess both James and Jeremiah on this one, and that I've really been trying to limit how much coverage I'm watching. When that larger walkthrough came out in June, I ended up probably watching about 2/3 of it over like 3 weeks. That tab lived for a long time in my browser.
Kind of like TV shows for me.
No, I actually pause it less than your average TV show for you, Joel.
Good.
And then just today, I finally watched the store page trailer, I guess, for Starfield. Finally, that's been out for I think a couple of weeks. Just a nice little 2.5 minute, just epic little showcase of what the game might be, and I'm excited to go in pretty cold and just with almost zero expectations, because that's why I loved Cyberpunk so much. Is I went in with no idea what I was going to get into, and I loved that game. I loved the launch version of that game. So I'm kind of hoping for the same thing here, where even if it has some stuff that had to get cut or toned down, I'm not going and expecting these giant systems or certain features that might not be there. I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is, hopefully.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel too. Speaking of that, are any of the rest of you planning on Baldur's Gate 3? It sounds like, Joel, you're thinking about it at least.
Yeah, I know Eric is gonna get it, and so I think I just really want to give it a try, because honestly, ever since after, must have been a couple years of James pestering me to play Knights of the Old Republic. That was the first time, and it took me probably like 4 tries to get into that game, because I can honestly even say now I still don't even like that kind of combat. Like I hate the pause and I just don't enjoy it, because it's like I don't understand why I'm clicking a button when I could just be I'm already clicking the mouse button. Let me just do that attack. Like it just never I just never understood it. Because I never because Age of Empires always felt different, because like you're seeing a giant swath, you're like controlling 100 enemy, you're
the overhead
men,
camera,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're
God camera.
controlling, but when you're like controlling like 3 people, like I just never even saw that much of the strategy of like it changed that much different versus just give me 1-to-1 control. But the game was just so freaking good, and the storyline was so good that like I got into a game that could be like 60 hours, and you're getting into depth choices and the accidents that would happen and characters that would die. Like I got into that, so like I'm definitely more in that stage of life that I'm like I could probably enjoy a game like this. Maybe take my time. It might take me a long time if I like it, and get into it. So I really want to give it a shot, but I really don't know if it will be a game for me. But it looks so good for the people I think that are just gonna like gobble that thing up. Because to me it has the choices. Because that was one of the issues I had greatly with Witcher was just like, again, coming in not really knowing that much lore. It was like choices just didn't make any difference. Like there really was no difference. It'd be like one little branch at the end, but it was between getting gold or getting a sword. It was not really like a whole area being decimated or this. It was like very minute thing. And
A lot of
so
romance
Kingdom
stuff.
Kingdom Come, like, well, I was gonna say blew me wide open. Blew my mind. Because like
you opened like a coconut.
Yes, it did. But like it had so many options where like, oh, like for example, like something that like, so I saw even in Baldur's Gate, and that like even it got me excited because if someone was sick in Kingdom Come and you're on that quest and they're like, hey, bring me some herbs or whatever, right? Like any normal game, you could come back after 150 hours and give them the herbs. Not in Kingdom Come. If you went to bed in the morning, they'd be dead. Like, so if you didn't go to heal them within a reasonable time, like they're dead. And so in Baldur's Gate, apparently that's the same thing. Like you can't just abandon certain things or risk consequence. And like to me, I like that because it's like, it's just fun seeing what happens. So I'm like, I gotta give it a shot.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat where for now at least, I'm gonna appreciate it from a distance for what it is. It looks amazing. But I'm like, my list of games to put time into are so long. I mean, Kingdom Come's still on there. So
Dave, you're not going to play Kingdom Come. Come on, Dave.
I did recently. I did about a month ago.
All right.
I've got a plan. I figured out, Joel, one of the reasons why I'm so stuck right now is I'm in the middle of that investigative quest inside the monastery, which requires tracking a bunch of stuff. And so every time I go back to play, I'm like, I've forgotten all my investigating. So my plan now is to get out of the monastery is I'm going to follow a game guide, because I have actually figured out who the target of that quest is.
Yeah.
I've just forgotten everything else that was going on with the schedule that you have to follow and all that stuff. So I'm going to follow a game guide to get out of that area. I think that's what's going to get me going on that game again. It's just getting out of that.
Dude,
very
if I could
scripted.
replay that game without like, man, I love that game. I really hope they can make a sequel. I haven't really heard anything from
They are
them.
making a sequel.
Are they are? Well, I heard there was like news that they were, but then there was like something, maybe like a year or so ago, there was something that I thought I heard that it was like, it was maybe up in the air, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. I really hope it is true that they're actually working on it, because
Yeah, last I heard it's probably still in pre-production, but it is still, a thing. Because, dude, they sold, I think, over 4 million copies of the game.
that's awesome.
That's a very specific kind of game for that kind of sales.
Dude, I
that's
collected
pretty neat.
30,000 flowers to get that achievement.
I thought you were going to say, I collected 30,000 copies myself on multiple platforms.
No, that's Skyrim. I reserved that for Skyrim alone.
I think I would have to restart the game to play at this point, because I like you were talking about all the different options, the choices you can make. Whatever choices I make I was playing it back when you could like break your progress permanently in the game. And that's where I was at, was like, I cannot figure out a way to progress no matter what I Google. So I think it looks like I'm 35 hours into it. I would just have to restart it. So that hasn't been super encouraging.
That was my first hang up too, Jeremiah, is right when Red Dead 2 launched that same month. I got stuck in a broken quest line. And that's where I got stuck for 2 years. I had to go back later and look up a guide again. And there were like 3 alternate ways to complete it. And I went down the list, and my save game failed for 2 of those 3 options. And finally, the third way that I tried progressed the quest.
Yeah, it does suck when you get stuck on something like that. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
man, I'm at the point where I'm like, no, like if you get stuck and you're still enjoying the game, but I'm like, just look it up. Like, you'll survive, you know.
And I had to get over that.
I mean,
I finally had to just get over
Yeah.
looking it up.
That's
yeah.
the only way
It's
I can
taken only
finish.
what, 6 years.
I could. That's the only way I can finish a bunch of things in Elden Ring. That game is like designed to make it like, oh, what you mean you don't understand that after you talk to this wolf man over here, you ought to wait 15 hours after you do this other quest and you head to a different area of the map and he'll randomly be there. You don't know that. You must not have read the scroll of learning that was tucked under this rock in the swamp. It's like, who
Yeah, I know.
designs this stuff? Like,
It is, yeah, it is. Well, it's funny, dude. I've got like 340 hours in that game because I'm still
Yeah.
helping my brothers get through it. We're actually pretty darn close to the end of the game.
oh man, I
now.
still
We're
need
like-
you to come help me beat the last like 2 bosses. I've done nothing since we last
I
talked about it.
finally beat the end boss. Finally, it took me probably 75 tries, like over months. Like I would play a few times, we'd play something else. Like I wouldn't be spending hours on it. I would just be like, we tried 4 or 5 times, done. And then we played a ton of Returnal. Returnal is freaking amazing.
Is it?
But oh, dude, it's really really good. It's one of those games that like. It's honestly, it's a game I would almost never even think about playing. But Eric was like, "Hey, I kind of like it was free on PS Plus or something." He's like, "I'm just playing a little bit." He's like, "Dude, this is like really good." And I was like, "Well, it's got 2-player co-op." I was like, "Okay, let's try it." It's like Bloodborne meets first-person shooter, but like or third-person shooter, but like, and, you know, every time you die, everything kind of resets. But once you get past bosses, certain things unlock where you get through it much faster, but like, man, like it's just really addicting. The shooting, the controls, like the haptic feedback, it's just freaking fantastic. And the game keeps blowing your mind because you're like, what is this? Now we're it was kind of like Dark Souls or Bloodborne where you get open a door and you're like, where the crap am I? Like, I thought we were at the end of the game. And you're like, nope, we're 20% in. It's worth at least giving it a shot. Like the first, because you won't die pretty quick for the first like maybe 45 minutes. But it's really interesting to at least give it a shot. It might not be a game for everyone, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's really good. I've got like 40 hours in it or something like that. It's really good.
Nice.
What else have you guys been playing? Because we're kind of easing into that. Joel, I guess, do you want to start with Zelda?
Man, I want to bitch about Zelda. So,
There it is. There's the title of the episode.
Man, I want to bitch about Zelda.
so the last time I was on the podcast, I was saying how good it was. Man,
I'm guessing that's not the case.
It last
So,
Jedi'd
okay.
you.
Yeah, it did. So, like, this is what I'll say. If you've never played Breath of the Wild, jump right into Tears of the Kingdom. Like, just forget Breath of the Wild. Just jump into this one. It's it's just a more expanded version of Breath of the Wild. But after, like, 20 hours... Like, it's like, you know, it's familiar if you played Breath of the Wild and you enjoyed that and you really liked the game. Like, I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild. I didn't do all the shrines because, like, after you do it well, you're kind of like, oh, I've seen it. Like, okay, I don't need any more of this. Like, but I enjoyed the world, the music. It was just like a peaceful ambient game. But I almost couldn't believe same damn music, same freaking combat music, like copy and pasted verbatim, same freaking fighting mechanics, the exact same. There's no like, hey, you got an axe. I'm thinking like after playing Elden Ring, like it puts these games to shame. And it's sad because like what they did so polished in Tears of the Kingdom with all the like building and stuff. When you see those trailers and you think, oh, you're going to have like monster trucks and you're going to have to like roll over deserts and stuff like that. No, you don't have to do any of that. None. Like there's maybe like
It's just there. It's optional if you want to or
there's
something.
like 1% areas and levels where you're like, oh, I guess I have to, like I really have to build something to do it. No, you don't. Like I was really expecting a lot of that. No, it's just, honestly, it's like, it's the perfect Nintendo kids game. It really is the perfect kids game of Zelda. But like, there's nothing. Like, dude, like even the story, it's almost exactly the damn same. It really pissed me off. It started
Baby's
quite
first
interesting,
adventure RPG.
and I thought it was going to be like a little bit more into it. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. But like, no, like you do the same thing. You go to the same like I enjoyed the shrines a little bit more because you like have to build like a helicopter thing to fly over it. But like, you're thinking like none of this makes any sense to the game. Like, what the heck is going on? Or like the previous Zeldas, you go to like the water temple because you got to get the water thing. But like, I mean, because they made it open world, each of the 4 areas you have to go to accomplish things, right? Every single NPC character says the same thing. So let's say you want to go to the forest temple first. The characters are like, oh no, I got this secret key. And then you go to the desert. Oh, look, I got this secret key. Because, it is expecting you to, like, you can go anywhere. But because of that, there is no story progression. It's all random. And then you get these memories that are all out of order. And it kind of ruins stuff. So you get, like, pieces of the mystery or, like, of the story, like, spoiled to you way earlier. And then you get a memory from early and you're like, I don't care. Like, it feels so weird. I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't. I really got to the point I was like, screw this, I'm done. I deleted the game. It was just really pissing me off because the gameplay, like the combat is just so bad. Like absolutely copy paste. Nothing different. So like, I mean, you can attach a barrel to your weapon, but then your weapon like is floating through the ground and it just looks bad. And you're just like, okay, I get this. This is like, honestly, again, it's perfect for a kid's game. For
baby's
introduction
first
to like
adventure
yeah
RPG.
Honestly to me it's like it was like baby's first Zelda, and then there's a lot of things good with it, but the quests are absolutely boring as crap. Like there's nothing new or interesting. Like there's no like amazing new cave. Like they have some new mechanics, but like you don't really do that much interesting stuff with it. Like let's say you go to the water temple, you talk with the NPC, the character goes, hey, I'll help you with this quest, and then they give you a water shield ability and you're like, cool. I mean, like, I don't really need to use it because, like, it's not even, most of them are not even that useful. They're only useful for, like, a few bits, and then you're done. As opposed to previous Zeldas, you're like, I got a boomerang. Now I can kill, like, 50 bats at once. I can grab a key, swipe it around here, do this, and then use, like, the sword, this and that. No, every single temple, you only use that one item because they expect you only to go to that one first or go to this one first. So they couldn't have you go to the water temple. And then now the next temple, you're combining water swords and fire to like kind of solve puzzle, like how it gets harder. No, the temples are, they said they were hoping to work on making the temples better. They're garbage. Seriously, like I couldn't even believe how bad they were. I was like, this is really pathetic. Especially, and coming after Elden Ring, I'm like, guys, you had 6 years. Elden Ring, I'm like, dude, like Elden Ring has like 5,000 weapons and you have like different sword flares and arrows and you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, like literally the same spear and the same exact sounds. You're just like, oh, what in the world? Yeah.
So have you played anything else that you've enjoyed since the last podcast besides like Returnal and Elden Ring? The other stuff you've talked about. Anything else that's been a surprise gem?
PGA 2023. It was a free game. Me and Eric we were playing golf. We created the most grotesque characters ever put to existence. That was fun. I did enjoy that. I beat him in golf.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Thanks, Joel. James, what about you? What have you been playing?
So I told you I got the Steam Deck recently. So I've been going through and playing some games that I hadn't really gotten a chance to play. I've been playing through the Tomb Raider from 2018. Not the original series, but the the reboot.
That was 2013, I think.
No way, really?
Yeah.
Was Rise of the Tomb Raider 2018?
Oh no, just Tomb Raider. Yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider I think was 2018. Rise of the Tomb Raider was... Oh no, that's 2015. Shadow of the Tomb Raider I think is the more recent one.
Anyway, I started that. Been enjoying playing that on the Steam Deck. Of course, one of the first games I installed, Joel. Like, we've been talking about having a portable version of Fallout for, like, ever. And so I had to try that out. And that was actually a lot of fun. So I had a couple hours of that. Played another, like, a ARPG called Stories. Other than that, played a little Hunt last night. Was it last night?
Yeah. Yeah, it was last night.
Launched DayZ a couple weeks ago.
Launched it, closed it.
I played. We actually met up and then got off. But
all is lost.
As far as like other consoles and stuff, I played a game that was free on I think PS5 called Dismantle. It was like really addicting. I mean, it's like an accessible version of Project Zomboid. I put it in the.
I know what
the host.
I've heard that name before, but what the heck is Project Zomboid?
It's like a
isometric zombie open world survival game.
Oh, okay. I do know what you're talking about now.
It came out the same year as the DayZ mod. Those two games were like the two big zombie games of the year.
Anyway, I put a bunch of hours into this. It's just like stupid fun, just running around like collecting crap and
Don't
upgrading
search up
crap.
Project Zombod.
Thanks for the tip, Joel.
Yeah.
Well, you got the tip, all right.
I beat a couple of Resident Evils. I yet to play Resident Evil 4. I
Ooh,
just
on the
got
deck?
that. No, I got that on the PS5.
Okay.
Also, haven't played. I only played like a little bit of Final Fantasy 16, but I don't want to get into that. So,
Nice. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, I had to check my list because I've actually been playing a decent amount last couple months. I took a month off of YouTube, basically, almost by accident for some vacations, but just did a lot of playing along the way. You were there for this one, Jeremiah. 6 Days in Fallujah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Excellent tactical FPS. Very, very realistic. Probably some of the best interior audio effects I've ever heard in a game. I mean, hearing your team go through a house talking on the local voice, the way that it echoes and reverbs, it sounds like you were there. It is so good. Very intense game, and it's still early access, I think, right now. So there's lots to come for that game, but it's already really good. Cool to see that game survive its initial controversy. I don't know if you guys subscribed like I did to PC Gamer back in the day, but I remember 6 Days in Fallujah being announced like the year after the Battle of Fallujah. It was like 2008 or 2009 they announced that game.
good thing they didn't do it before. That would have been really awkward.
Yeah, you gotta explain the time machine.
Like
to
that
your
N64 game called Jet Fuel Can't Melt Steel Beams that came out in '98. It was really weird, kind of misunderstood. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, so it got canceled like twice and then finally bought by another developer and they actually finished it.
But the game that they made isn't really the original game at all, right? They bought the name and stuff and they slapped it on a different game that they've made.
Some of the assets are left over, but yeah, it's like a different engine now and all. It's very different.
Was it even that type of tactical shooter though? Because that really seems like somebody played Ready or Not or Rainbow Six Siege or something and was like, I wonder if we did our own spin on this. Like it doesn't really feel like a game that somebody would have dreamed up in 2008.
So the core gameplay loop, yeah, actually does remain mostly as it was, apparently. I spent some while going through the wiki because I was curious about like how it had come back to life because the announcement in their launch surprised me that it actually came out. Yeah, 6 Days in Fallujah, a nice little surprise launch after over a decade since announcement, even if it isn't quite the same game. We have been playing some BattleBit here and there. Great to see them just rocking and rolling. I mean, that game's just doing so well. It's still averaging like 50,000 players on a blocky shooter. Also played DayZ. Actually put like a couple nights into it. We had a lot of fun. Still just as discouraging when you spend 4 hours building a character up and you die to a 4-second firefight with people that have spent like 8 times as much time in the server as you.
That used to be you though, Dave. You used to be the guy who spent 8 times in the server.
It used to be me. It was one time.
Except they would never see Dave. He would spend that much time, but he would never get in a firefight.
There are things in life that are just as disappointing. So
that game continues to print stories though. You know, every time you play, you've got a story of how you drank from the wrong water source and your whole match turned into like a side quest of trying to get to this hospital to get medicine. And we were trying to survive and get to a firefight, and we were up in the snowy part of Namalis, the snow map, and Chris was dying of dehydration. So it's like, okay, I'm going to drink a bunch of snow real quick, like eat a bunch of snow to get hydration.
oh gosh.
he got hypothermia, and we couldn't warm him up fast enough. We're like desperately building a campfire, and he's like slowly sipping water that we melted over the fire, like you're supposed to, instead of just eating a whole bunch of ice. But finally, he died in front of us. He was like doing like the little heart symbol for us, and then he just falls over dead.
Then you ate him?
Yeah, yeah, we did. And then we texted.
and then we ate him.
The animation for like chopping somebody up is like they just explode into a bunch of giblets.
Yeah,
It'd
you're
be
like
amazing
stabbing.
if like when you go to eat them and it just goes the same soda sound. You just like drink them. A game I am actually stoked to play is Payday 3. I hope
That's
it's good.
free on Game Pass too, by the way.
Oh, is it? Well, my brothers don't have that, so we're trying to find some. Debbie actually told us about a game called Remnant. Remnant 2, I think, is out. It looks pretty interesting. Like I'm hoping it's not like a randomized type of thing. Like again, I'm not like so like Returnal is randomized, but like
Yeah.
The lore of the game works super well. Like you're in this weird planet thing that's just evolving and changing, and you're trying to get through it and stuff like. So it makes kind of sense, but like you still have kind of like a objective. But this game does sound like fun because you have like certain bosses you have to get through. Like we really loved Alien Fireteam Elite. Like we played through all of the missions on that. We just loved it because it was it was fairly doable, but like we could kind of progress in a mission instead of just doing like wave after wave. So I'm hoping that Payday 3 is something kind of fun where we can kind of play together. Probably maybe put on easy so we don't just get decimated, but like we can go through all the different maps and missions and stuff. But I don't know. But I do want to check out Remnant.
Joel, Remnant 2, right? That's what you were just talking about? Yeah. I'll blow your mind a little bit. You know where that game came from?
Blow them apart.
Remnant 1 and 2? It is the single-player remains of the original alpha of Hunt Showdown, as announced in 2014.
Really?
Wow.
Crytek bought the rights to like the multiplayer PvP part, and that studio continued with the single-player half. Hunt was originally announced as it was like 1886 Horrors of the Gilded Age or something like that. It was more of like a co-op game. And the rights were split in two, and Crytek got the multiplayer part, which became Hunt Showdown, and the single player, more cooperative part became that game. It's pretty cool.
So I might actually like Remnant too, since it's single player.
Nice.
Yeah, you can actually see some of the original assets in both games if you look close, like some of the animations and props and stuff.
I've tried looking up gameplay, and I'm not quite seeing like gameplay that like convinces me of what kind of game it is. Like everyone keeps on saying like, oh, it's really good, but it's like you know when you see the right gameplay, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I think I'll like that. Like it both looks really good, but I'm like, I'm tempted just to get it just because a lot of people have said it's really good and it's interesting, but I'm like, if it's a weird kind of co-op game and like it's not gonna work with them, I'm like, I'm probably not gonna play it. But Lords of the Fallen 2 looks freaking good. I'm excited for that. And The Lies of P, the like Pinocchio-based Bloodborne kind of Dark Souls game. I'm like, I hope that's good. Like, those will be kind of fun. And I forgot to say, I have still really enjoyed Jedi Survivor. I'm like really close.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's just taken me a while to get through it, but I've enjoyed it every single time I've been playing.
From a macro level, this year has been really great for game releases. Like, Eaton's good this year.
Better than movies.
Well, yeah, and
fair.
Metroid. I totally forgot. Yeah, I'm
Wait, there's a new Metroid game?
Well, it's the remastered one.
Prime
on the Switch.
remastered.
Okay. I was like, man, I'm so out of the loop with
it.
some stuff. Okay.
Yeah, every time playing that, I've really enjoyed it, and they've had a really good little like simple hint system in the game that like if you're looking for somewhere for a long period of time, it'll do a little like map zoom thing for you and just give you a general idea of like, hey, try exploring there. Because I think the only thing that I would say is annoying outside of just being older, not having as much time, is like you could easily just go across the other side of the map and you'd have to re-explore every last thing and remembering it. So it's helpful, like if you don't play it for a while, you can get back in. But it's fantastic. I've got probably like 20 hours in it. Really been enjoying it. It's been fun.
Whatever happened to Prime 4? Apparently they announced that like in 2017. And it was supposed to release at the end of this year, but...
Oh, wow.
It'll probably
I bet
end up
they're
being on
probably
the
just-
next Switch.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Like, cause I feel like if whenever they do announce one, like I think it'd be awesome of them to just be like, hey, you know, it comes out and any game that you owned on Switch, like, or at least the main ones like Zelda or, you know, Mario Odyssey, like they just you get kind of the PS5 version. I think that'd be great if they, right when they announce it,
Yeah.
all of those kind of become, hey, now you can play it in, I don't know, 1440p or, you know, 4K
Full
upscale
HD.
or whatever it is.
Full
but like, it would
HD
look
on the next
pretty
Nintendo
cool.
platform.
HD 60 FPS.
I was actually reading something about apparently for like Mario Kart and some of those, like the menus, they like render the images and stuff at 4K downsampled to 1080p or whatever, but that's why a lot of the menus can just look really freaking good because they're pre-rendered, but they're like super high res, you know, so you're like,
That's the
like, a
only
lot of
place where
menus-
you're
yeah,
like staring at the screen for any amount of time. Once you get into the levels, you're like moving so fast, you can't focus on anything. Speaking of, what do you guys think about Red Dead?
Red Dead
port.
Remastered or Red Dead
The
Redemption?
remaster that
remake,
wasn't.
remake or
Well,
remaster?
just
What
the
is it officially?
re-release, you mean?
Yeah.
Re-release.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's just
It's just
Red
it's-
Dead Redemption 1. That's all it is, basically.
It's just a port.
I'm not going to play it probably because I'm still working my way through my really slow replay of 2. And I really like the story of 1, but I remember it decently well. But 2 was such a masterpiece. Like, I don't know. I might play it in 5 years or something, but I don't think it's a game I would specifically seek out to play now.
I mean, it looks really good on the
Jonah's playing
Xbox.
it because he never played. Oh, sorry.
So, I mean, it coming out on the PS4 or the Switch was not a big deal because the 4K upscale was decent.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you really wanted to replay Red Dead Redemption, there's been so many cheap ways to do that are available that like only if you're a PC only player who's never touched anything else, maybe you're really excited, but how many people are in that
But I'm
category?
not. I'm really not though.
You're not going to play it?
No, I'm still holding out hope for an actual remaster. I've played the first like 7 or 8 hours on Joel's Xbox that I borrowed in like, Joel, what was that, 2013? Holy cow.
Yeah. 35
Dude, it's been a
years
decade.
ago.
We're still waiting for the Fallout 3 and Oblivion remasters, so
Yeah.
you might not
Yeah,
want to
that's true.
hold out too long.
Yeah, isn't it like rumors that like they not like lost the code, but it's just kind of like it's stuck in what it is. Like I was watching some video that it actually looks like it runs really nice actually on the Switch. Like, so if you've never played it before, like it's actually like it runs better than Xbox 360, you know, like it should, but it actually looks pretty cool. Like if I hadn't played it, seeing some of the gameplay, I actually was like, oh man, that actually was really fun. I definitely liked Red Dead 1 better than 2, at least for me, but it
Well,
had
boys.
enough gamification of stuff where 2 almost like it almost a little went too real for me, and the gameplay to me it was like so freaking easy.
Of 1 or 2?
2, it was just
Okay.
so darn easy. I hope one day they actually, like, it looks like in the leak footage from the next GTA, it looks like they're actually creating really good third person shooting now finally. Because they've always done that weird stick shoot between theirs, and it's just annoying because it's like, you know, you're riding on a horse, like they either shoot you like perfect lightning, so you have to have that like stick and then shoot kind of thing, where I'm like, so many games have made actually like good third person shooting, but they've always had just kind of wonky shooting in those games.
We can't end the podcast here, Maya, without me rambling about Hunt for a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that is what you've
Yeah.
been playing. Yeah, we'll let you have this one.
This will be short, and I also have a little. What was my Dave segment?
Dear God, Dave.
Yeah, I got.
Oh, there's a Dear God, Dave. Oh,
little
sweet. What a little treat.
Yeah,
little
yeah.
treat for the boys and girls.
treat that involves my wallet, so you'll enjoy that one. But yeah, briefly on Hunt. Game is at its peak. The live event with the new Gator boss, the rain, has been awesome. It ends tomorrow. Finally, it's been their most reasonable for completing if you do like the battle pass and all the live event stuff. But just the game updates itself, the gameplay loop, and the additions have been so good. The downside, however, is the game is now at a popularity peak, which is great, but has also brought along probably the most visible hacking problem the game's ever had. You know, we've watched DayZ and Tarkov and the older Battlefield games all fall to hackers. And Hunt, I said it starting like last summer when we were first really getting hooked on Hunt. I'm like, man, we just need to play a bunch of this while it's just like 20,000 average players before this gets big enough where people will start hacking to stay competitive or to annoy people. And it's starting to get to that point now where if you play a few nights a week, you're almost guaranteed to have an issue running into somebody who's not playing legitimately. And then you start to think, how many are just doing the smart hacking where they're just running like ESP where they can track player locations. They're not running, aim hacks or anything. They're just using location trackers, which is a huge in a game like that. That's a lot harder to detect. So ashamed to see that, but maybe with the engine upgrade still hopefully coming out later on this year, there'll be some additions to the anti-cheat as well. Because I loosely follow Tarkov, and man, that game is plagued with hackers right now. Because that is such a hardcore extraction game that there was like an expose a few months back on Tarkov where a guy made a new account. He was like a decently large streamer for the game. He made a new account, bought hacks for the game, and then discovered that hackers had a secret handshake to identify each other in the game.
What? Oh my gosh.
So again, wall hacks are like the low key way of using hacks in the game where you're not using aim hacks to get the shots on people. You're just knowing where to pre-peek for a kill, right? He discovered when you're using the wall hacks and you have the little green skeletons that the hack provides of where everybody is, if you look at somebody through like 4 buildings, they can see your skeleton looking at them, and you do like a lean wiggle through the wall, and they know that you can't see them without hacks, but if you wiggle at them, right at them, they know, oh, he can see me through the wall. He's a hacker too. This guy discovered it was like 30% of the players on the server would wiggle back to identify other hackers. 30%.
It was like a Spider-Man meme, they're all like hacking. They're like, we're all here. There's like nobody's not hacking.
Yeah, hopefully Hunt won't end up that bad because Tarkov's in rough shape right now.
It is now time for Dear God Dave, a part of the show where Dave's frugality or unique way of being is amusing for everybody else. So Dave, what have you done?
What have we all know about Game Pass, right? Microsoft Game Pass.
One of the best values in gaming.
Yeah, best values in gaming. I love Game Pass. I don't love paying monthly subscriptions. There's too many of them in my life already. And to be honest, I don't play my Game Pass games a whole lot. I've gone like 3 or 4 months without playing any Game Pass games while paying the $10 a month, and that hurts my soul. So as I do when Slick Deals IMs me or texts me like, hey, alert, Game Pass alert, there's a key available. You collect all these mildly suspicious third-party keys to collect your Game Pass subscription. I jump on it, right? So I'm idly just doing it in the background the other night, and I proceed to order 9 months of Game Pass, basically, Game Pass Ultimate for, I think it was like $24 or something, or 20, no, it was about $28. And I was all excited. And it has like 1,000 steps. You have to like confirm your ID, confirm your email, confirm this is the right platform. I went through all of these steps, probably spent about a good 15 minutes buying these 9 months of Game Pass Ultimate keys. I finally add them to my Microsoft account, and I'm greeted with the exciting message that I now own 9 months of Xbox Gold, which is useless as a PC player. So I played with it for about another 15 minutes, kind of realizing that I had thrown my money into the void, because once you accept the keys, that's it. Like, you've taken them. They're gone. You paid for it. That's it.
Right.
So I let it sit for a few days, and finally, to my great relief, I realized in my excitement and bloodlust over cheap Game Pass keys, I had missed the final step, which was you buy like it's like a $4 1 month Ultimate key, and then Microsoft like prompts you like, oh, by activating this Ultimate key, you convert your Xbox Gold into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. This is like the Microsoft Windows launches of ages past, where there's just way too many versions sometimes. So I successfully converted with an extra $4 key my 9 months of Xbox Gold into correct Game Pass Ultimate. So I'm ready for Starfield.
I guess I'm proud of you. I'm not really sure. Any of these sites, are they all first-party Microsoft stuff, or have you been getting...
No, of course not.
Okay, great. So for the cost of saving $25 to $30 or something, you've probably gotten some of your data stolen by this point.
I used PayPal. It'll be fine.
Okay. Well, I'm happy for you, I guess. But anyway, y'all, thank you for coming out and being a part of the show. James, did you have something else you wanted to say? Looked like you were wearing up. Oh, okay.
Gamescom is tomorrow, so
by the next podcast, all the news from Gamescom will be old. So I hope everyone enjoys watching
by the
it.
time people watch this.
That's true. By the time people see this, you've already seen cool stuff from Gamescom, or maybe there's not cool stuff. We don't really know. Enjoy Gamescom.
Catch all the latest news.
That's why you tune in.
Rebel
In
Moon
2
trailer
months.
tomorrow.
Rebel Moon trailer? Okay.
I'm stoked about that.
Well, by the time we have our next podcast, we should be able to talk about Starfield, which should be a good time, unless it's horribly broken, in which case we'll still have a good time.
I totally forgot to talk about.
But thank you, everybody, for coming out and being a part of the show. Tweet at casualshenanigans. I have to figure out how to sign into X/Twitter because they've gotten rid of TweetDeck and not announced anything because that company's burning down. You can tweet at us. You might be better off writing into casualshenanigans@gmail.com.
No, Jeremiah, you can X at us.
You can X at us. That's right.
It's still better than threading at us.
Come on, X, give it to us over on X, and writing to casualshenanigans@gmail.com. And until next time, stay casual.